kegiatan ACT yaitu bincang-bincang tentang dunia pendidikan, dan salah satu narasumbernya adalah berasal dari Indonesia.
Everybody knows that we are what is really the global warming. But global warming, there is many different problems here. For example, what changing rains and snow pattern, stronger storm, and then higher temperature and more heat waves, more drought and wildfire, damage coral, rising sea level, and more oceans. What will be problem at the end? And Mr. Stanley will deal with this condition. Yes, there is some at least 4 factors here that school hours reduction in some countries record heat waves utilization in 2010. Second, 32 million people were internally displaced in 2022. By 2050, potentially forcing more than 200 billion people to migrate to their own countries. And finally, increasing temperature and natural disaster impact people, health, security, and food system. This can push more than 100 million people back into poverty in the next 15 years. Then what would be the problem of education? What will be the problem issues that related to education? Today, education tends to be controlled, tends to be homogenized, standardized, technologized, and industrialized. I think we have to change this. The second question, the most teaching approach is to good guiding to unsustainability and that's legal to sustain the good person. Developing spirit, and the most mindful education sustain unsustainable. Relevant principles, the relevant principles of sustainable education. The first one is sustainable education requires paradigm change, both domestic and cultural values. It received recovery and authentic education which recognize the best, the past thinking and practice, and the efficient education and learning which help ensure the future. The third describes 3 levels of change. The first one is making small changes in our education system. The second is rethinking what current ideas used in education and our education system. And the third is committed to change and transformation in our education system for the future perspective. What is the principle underpinning sustainable education? I think this is theory, but the theory is no problem. Okay. Let me jump. I think this is actually the answer. The answer is about the empowers learner of all ages to tackle interconnected global challenges, including climate change, biodiversity loss, unsustainable resources use, and inequality. This is the cleaning education. There are four different pillars. The first one is cleaning school. The second is cleaning curriculum. The third, the third is cleaning teacher training and education. And the fourth is cleaning communication. What is the cleaning school? Cleaning school is learning institution that takes a comprehensive approach to education for sustainable development by addressing climate change through its teaching facilities and operation, school governance, and community partners. Green school aims to promote knowledge and skill for the social, economic, cultural, and environmental aspect of sustainable development. What is the comprehensive approach? All learners are empowered to build green transformation by moving the traditional culture of the learning institution towards collaboration, solidarity, sustainable practices, and inclusion of all genders. This is the cleaning school. Second is cleaning curriculum. Cleaning curriculum is the process of integrating environmental education and sustainability concepts into the standard educational curriculum. This aims to foster an understanding of environmental issues, promote sustainable practices, and empower students to become environmentally conscious citizens. There are four different issues relating to cleaning curriculum such as integrated environmental topics that are subject in the curriculum. Second, thematic instruction, project-based learning, problem-based learning, and experiential learning. The third, promoting sustainable practices. Fourth, fostering environmental civism. And the fifth is disciplinary approach. Third is the drilling teacher training and education system capacity. Visions. And finally is the drilling community. I think that's all I would like to I have to say today because there is some problem with my technical problems. I'm sorry for that. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So wonderful, thank you very much for your presentation. You know, we are living in the world which is a contested world, right? And Indonesia proposes some framework that can help us a lot, which is creating curriculum. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we have our country with us, which is Malaysia. So Dr. Nasri will give a talk on digital technology and happiness and sustainability in education. So please give him a round of applause.
Assalamualaikum and Salam Malaysia leaders and delegates to the ACT Plus Convention. Hi everyone. Today I represent Asia country report. This is my team. Abdul Baba, myself, Muhammad Nazri, Fauzi Sifan, Azmi Ahmad, Sabir, Muhammad Muhammad Ridwan, and Nur Azan. We are wrap up our research and we will share about digital technology and happiness and sustainable in education Malaysian experience. We will look how these three elements, digital technology, happiness, and sustainability, come together to shape the future of learning in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, education is undergoing significant transformation globally, driven by evolving societal needs and advanced research. In Malaysia, there are growing recognition of the importance of creating a learning environment that's not only focused on academic excellence, but also prioritize the overall well-being, character building, and happiness of the students. That is where the concept happy schooling comes in. Integrating these concepts with the digital technology is the key to prepare our students for the challenge of 21st century. When we talk about the Malaysian transformation system and digital learning in Malaysia, we see that Malaysia has made a very notable movement when we launched digital educational learning initiative in Malaysia. We call it the Lima in 2020. In this initiative aim to align our education system with the Industrial 5.0 by integrating AI, IoT, and other digital tools into learning environment. The Lima has been game changer, providing teachers and students with access to essential applications like Google Classroom, Microsoft 365, AI apps. Maybe my friend from Malaysia also do know that they have 11 AI apps in their portal, the Lima. But the problem is, I will share after this what happened with that AI. Happy schooling is a concept that has gained international attention as educators and policymakers recognize the importance of student well-being alongside academic achievement. This global perspective on happy schooling offers valuable lessons for Malaysia. By adopting elements from this model, Malaysia can create an education system that not only drives academic achievement, but also nurture the emotional and social well-being of students. This is the most important thing about the character building education. This holistic approach ensures that the students are well prepared for the challenge of the 21st century. In Malaysia, we call this concept of happy schooling is sekolah sejahtera. Happy schooling, sekolah sejahtera. When we talk about the sustainable education, more of my panel already talked about this, it's become a global priority as the world grapples with the environmental challenge, social inequality, and economic uncertainty. For Malaysia, adopting sustainable education practices offer a path to develop responsible global citizens. By incorporating these principles of the sustainable into curriculum, school can foster critical thinking, innovation, and the sense of stewardship among students in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, in the nation concept, the National Blueprint 2013-2025 is outlined how we create our policy regarding the happy schooling. With this, we produce a few concepts of the happy schooling. First is about the digital technology integration across Malaysian secondary school. Based on our study, it shows that 92% of schools fully implemented the fraud virtual learning environment and delivered. All other students have fully utilized the Lima with an average 3.5 hours a daily usage of the digital learning platform. At the same time, we also find out that 68% of teachers utilizing it for the collaborative learning project. Then, based on our study, also shows that 70% of the parents expressing the the satisfactions with the digital communication from the school, between the school and teachers, parents, how they communicate through this dilemma portal. But sometimes it will give a burden for the teachers to operate this. Okay, just a few solutions. Okay, because to the Happy Schooling Initiative in Malaysia, we try to implement happy schooling with the concept of Sekolah Sejahtera. Our study find out that this program, school implement one full program under the Sekolah Sejahtera, observed that 22% reduction in the reported student anxiety level based on a few school cases that we run. It shows that most of the students and teachers are happy in their school in Malaysia. When we talk about the academic achievement, study also shows that 30% improvement. When we apply happy schooling, it will increase the critical thinking while we will measure by the standard in, assessment. When we talk about the sustainable practice in our school, it shows that 71% of the survey school implement active recycling program. We have a lot of program in school regarding the recycle program. It's a past and past doing school as one of the program. This is our challenge when we talk about implementation or integration between digital technology, happy schooling, and sustainable education. The first challenge is about teachers training. Okay, for the teachers who are the new teachers who are 20 or below 40, they are very good with the digital. But for teachers who are at my age, sometimes we are having a very problem to dealing with a few digital apps. So this is what we need to do a training for digital too, because the studies shows that the moderate positive correlation between effective implementation of online learning amongst teachers. When we integrate the technology into these three principles, we show that in our case study, a few case study in school in Malaysia, it shows that the improved student well-being, increased engagement, and give a better academic outcome. This is the challenge that I talk about. 38% express the need for professional development, especially who are 50 and above. Teachers who are 50 and above, they need the skill about digital literacy. 42 students, school students, struggle with the integrating sustainable practices due to lack of expertise or resource. And for the 25% of student lower income family, they feeling that there are disadvantages when we dealing with the digital literacy, when we talk about the digital education. As a conclusion, to pursue this holistic and effectiveness education system, Malaysia begins with a formidable opportunity to transform the school system. This can be done by integrating three elements. The most important thing, three elements: digital technology, happy schooling, and sustainable education. We can create a better learning environment and enhance our academic achievement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malaysia. So, some key takeaway from Malaysia was see that Malaysia is another country that focuses on integrating digital technology and promoting student-led sustainability projects, which is, for example, mindfulness program, right, which could boost, both student satisfaction and achievement. So here come our last country with us, the Philippines. Dr. Gilbert says that will give a presentation on understanding the role of public and private partnership PPP in creating safe schools and sustaining education in the Philippines. So, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Are you still eager to listen to my report? Thank you. With that, I'd like to tell you that I'm doubly happy, meaning happy, not sad, to present to you the country report from the Philippines using Bicol region as the setting under the title Understanding the Role of Public and Private Partnership in Creating Safe Schools and Sustaining Education in the Philippines. In the Philippines, the Constitution mandates the protection and promotion of the right of Filipinos to accessible and quality education. Cognizant of these, the Department of Education is given the responsibility to provide for the establishment and maintenance of complete, adequate, and integrated system of basic education that is relevant to the goals of national development. But that end in the Philippines cannot or does not work alone. We are actively collaborating with stakeholders to enable us to get everyone involved and work collectively to make joint decisions, achieve common goals, and address shared challenges. This partnership is encouraged worldwide, with the World Bank stressing that the main rationale for developing public-private partnership or PPP in education is to maximize the potential for expanding equitable access to schooling and for improving education outcomes, especially for marginalized sectors or groups. The concept of PPP recognizes the existence of alternative options for providing education services besides public finance and public delivery. Many governments, international organizations, and other key education stakeholders consider that by partnering with the private sector, countries can expand their education system in some or in more efficient, flexible, and effective way. This is the reason why in the Philippines, we strengthen our stakeholders' collaboration to leverage each other's unique strengths and achieve mutual goals that will benefit our learners. The public-private partnership in my country is stipulated in Republic Act 8525, otherwise known as the Adapt a School Program, in order to build and sustain a mutual connection between DepEd and each partners. This program provides a venue for the strong and dynamic private sectors to actively participate in creating safe schools and sustaining quality education among Filipino learners. Specifically, the Adapt a School program allows private entities to assist public schools, whether elementary, secondary, or tertiary, preferably those that are located in the poorest provinces in the Philippines, like my own region. In the following areas, staff, faculty development through training and further education, construction of facilities, upgrading of existing facilities, provision of books, publication and other instructional materials, and modernization of instructional technologies. The Adapt a School Program Act is further strengthened through the issuance of DepEd Order No. 2, Series of 2013, that expands the assistance that the private sector can provide to public schools. The partner support packages may include infrastructure, physical facilities, furniture and real estate property, training and skills development, learning support, reading materials, computer and science laboratories, health and nutrition packages, and assisted learning devices by students with special needs. The public-private partnership allows for the construction and maintenance of school infrastructure, including buildings, sanitation facilities, and access roads. It also brings innovative solutions and technologies to improve educational outcomes and safety measures in schools. With collaboration, DepEd partners also facilitate training programs for teachers, administrators, and staff on safety protocols, disaster preparedness, and effective educational practices, and others. One of the tangible outcomes of the Adapt School program in the Philippines is the Brigada Escuela. Every year, before the opening of classes, which promotes good school and community partnership. This is commonly, or this is community engagement strategy that involves stakeholders such as parents, private institutions, community organizations, and non-government organizations. The Department of Education benefits from this public and private collaboration. Am I done? From school infra to technology and multimedia support, furniture and appliances, wellness, health and nutrition, financial support and subsidy, school supplies and uniforms, teaching and learning aids and devices, trainings and skills development. Let me present our country's educational scenario when we were assailed by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and how our efforts for learning recovery is now being supported by our external partners. Compared to East and Southeast Asian countries, the Philippines has one of the longest school closures, going from March 2020 to October 2020 without formal classes, eventually implemented distance learning in most schools and only returned to full face-to-face classes in November 2022. About 27 million students have been affected by partial or full school closures. 9 out of 10 children now fall below the minimum reading proficiency level. In my own region, Region 5, we were particularly concerned about the reading ability of our early grades learners due to the school closures in the implementation of distance learning. To determine the actual number of learners who have not acquired fundamental literacy skills, we conducted literacy assessment in 2022, the comprehensive rapid literacy assessment which we developed with the ABC Plus project under the USA. The result revealed that more than half of our early grades learners could not read or they were full repressors. Some could read but still with reading difficulties. This left only a measly of 27% of grade 1 to 3 learners who read and who could read in 2022. The situation prompted us to implement a learning recovery program through Project RACE or Recovery for Academic Achievement by improving instruction through sustainable evidence-based learning programs. The main focus of the Learning Recovery Program is the implementation of the 8-week Learning Recovery curriculum for 3 years. By 2025, our region visualizes a classroom where every learner is a leader and luminary. We are currently implementing this cohesive and needs-based program or reading program for 3 years. We want to make sure that we are promoting early grade learners who have fully recovered from learning loss and are able to acquire critical foundational literacy skills that will help them learn. In the implementation of Region 5 Learning Recovery Program, education stakeholders actively support the organization. The primary of which is ABC Plus, who assisted in developing lesson maps, worksheets, and assessment tools in the 8-week learning recovery curriculum. It is also spearheaded professional development activities for teachers, instructional leaders to improve instructional delivery. Okay, madali. 2 more minutes. And our children, International Bangkok, further complements Region 5's learning recovery effort through the reproduction and distribution of worksheets used in the 8-week learning recovery curriculum. We have also the Edu Support Academic Reinforcement and Enrichment Program and We Learn Life Skills Program. In 2023, we also have Children International Vehicles assistance in some of the schools. Food for the Hungry Philippines, another education partner of Region 5. Then we have another active partner of the Region 5 is of Resources for the Blind, who has assisted us in putting up an inclusive learning resource center in Bicol. And of course, we have the Project 6Bs. Bawat batang Bicolano, bihasang umasa at lumilab. The 6B program has resulted to a big number of volunteers who signified to join in the program, totaling to 21,513 who took on the roles as tutors and volunteer teaching assistants. So we have a lot of partners. I will no longer be reading them. But in closing, let me give my closing. Overall, public and private partnership leverages the strengths of both public and private sectors to create safe and sustainable schools in our locality. By combining resources, expertise, innovation, these partnerships can effectively address the complex challenges facing educational institutions and ensure a conducive environment for teaching and learning. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much. So very interesting, the involvement of the community by adopting a job is school program and learning recovery program. So thank you very much. Now, this is the end of the first session of country report. We have another fourth session which will be chaired by Assistant Professor Dr. Sasipon. Please will share another fourth session. So thank you very much for your attention and thank you very much for sharing your insights of the country.
Thank you very much for leaders from all 4 countries, and we're going to go to the next section with another 4 countries too. So please come to our stage, our honors moderators. All right, so we will have 1 hour from now with other 4 countries. All right, thank you. All of you who come to share your country report. Thank you very much. Leaders from Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. So it's like 1 per year we will come to have country report, and we have 4 more countries. Big round of applause to all of them, please. Once again, thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากค่ะในช่วงการนำเสนอรายงานนะคะเมื่อสักครู่นี้4 ประเทศค่ะมีบรูไน อินโดนีเซีย มาเลเซีย และฟิลิปปินส์นะคะ
Thank
for the next one, we honor to have Dr. Saksipon from Perpik, and we would like to invite the leaders for 4 countries. For the first country, please welcome the Republic of Singapore. The class to welcome, please. And next, I would like to invite the leaders for the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And next, I would like to invite the representative of the Laos People Democratic Republic on the stage. Round of applause, welcome, please. And the last countries, welcome the leaders from Thailand. Big applause to all 4 countries. 4 leaders from 4 countries. So we're going to go to the second section, the country report on the stage with 4 countries. We have the leaders from Singapore, Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand. So for this section, we will hand on to Dr. Saksipon from Perpik. We guess we will go to second presentations of country report in 4 countries. After that, we will go to each room that I will inform you once again, which room and which store. Actually, you can scan the QR code on your badge to get more information about the agenda of today's and tomorrow events. All right, if you're ready, we're going to hand on the section to Kun Saksipon from Perpik.
Distinguished guests and our speakers over here. So in the second part of this country report, we will have 4 countries from Singapore, Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand. So let's get started with the presentation from Singapore. Mr. Lua Eugene. He is currently working as the branch official. This afternoon, he will present his topic, which is Teach Less, Learn More. Everyone, please welcome our speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, fellow educators, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Singapore Teachers Union, it is my honor to present our country report focusing on Teach Less, Learn More. For our presentation, I will touch on these areas. There are 5 distinct phases of Singapore's education development. What Teach Less, Learn More, or TLLM, and how it came to be, how it has continued to influence Singapore's current Learn for Life movement, and the nurturing of 21st century competencies, the implication for educators like yourselves, and how we see TLLM being related to the convention's theme of this year. Let me start by beginning with the phases of Singapore's educational development. Singapore recently just celebrated its 59th National Day. Singapore is a very young country. Despite this young age, its education system underwent 5 distinct phases of development, with one building upon another. In the earliest phase, from 1965 to 1978, a short period of 13 years, we describe it as a survival-driven phase. As a newly independent country with no natural resources, education was an urgent need for a young country to develop itself to meet the needs of national survival needs. As a result of this, the system was very much centralized, standardized, and it focuses on socialization and nation building. A national curriculum was implemented with a focus on languages, science, and mathematics. The focus of the survival-driven phase was really for the country to just exist. And therefore, back in the days of the 60s and 70s, there was only one imperative. The country is to survive. The next phase, the efficiency-driven phase, between 1979 to 1997, 18 years long. In 1979, our Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Goh Keng Swee, was tasked to review the education system. He noticed there was massive inefficiencies. Our students were dropping out, they were disengaged, and learning was not effective. It is largely because the students didn't speak the languages that they were taught in at home. And there were wide discrepancies between the able students and the less able students. And because of this, there was a need to improve efficiency in the system to make sure that every student becomes maximized in terms of their potential and to improve the outcomes of education. As a result of this, during the second phase, there were massive structural processes put in place. You will hear of this thing streaming in Singapore. It was a kind of ability banding where the more able students were placed in a band and the less able students were placed in another. Its objective is to ensure that every student receives the education they need and to maximize the outcome for all students. At the same time, you see increasing school differentiation. You see independent schools, autonomous schools being set up. And this allows schools to start school-level innovations to meet the needs of the students in their schools. From 1997 to 2011, I would say that this would be the most exciting phase, and it was the most important phase which TLM came about. It would be the ability-based, aspiration-driven phase. It was the start of a signaling by our education ministry that we need to look into student needs rather than just national survival needs. As seen in the title, aspiration-based, ability-driven, we want to look at what each child is able to do and what they seek to be, and make our education suit their needs. In 2007, we started Northlight School. It was a school built to cater to less academically inclined students who has failed their primary school leaving examination. We also have multiple pathways to success, and we increased our efforts to customize our curriculum that recognizes students' different abilities and talents. And very importantly, it was a start for us to look into pedagogy in the classroom. We moved very much from structures to the classroom. Our fourth phase, the student-centric, values-driven phase, 2011 to 2019, we continue this move to move away from a narrow definition of success as examination results towards recognizing each child for their abilities and strengths. We focus more on holistic education, not just examination results. We look at talents beyond the classroom and values in character. And finally, currently we are at the Learn for Life phase. We want every Singaporean to continue their love for learning beyond school. We want schools to prepare our students not just for a life of tests, but a test of life. So where does this come in? Teach Less Learn More. We must understand Teach Less Learn More in the context of its phase. Let's recall that Teach Less Learn More is located within the ability-based, aspiration-driven phase of our education system. In 1997, our Prime Minister made a call for for us to have thinking schools, learning nation. It is a call for all educators to shift the focus away from examinations and look at how each child, each school, each classroom can enable thinking to his or her best ability. And it is a work in progress. At the same time, in 1997, there was a commonly agreed upon desired outcome of education, which guides schools in the implementation of programs and how they measure success. I'll talk more about this later on. And finally, in 2010, we have the 21st century competencies, a set of skills that we hope every student has when they leave our formal education system. TLLM is located within this context. And why was that the case? Recall that in the earlier phases, due to the survival-driven nature of our education system, success was measured by performance and examinations. And we recognize that it is becoming important. If we only focus on examination success, we will miss out the purpose of education. We want to grow the whole child. We want to develop the whole person. So our then education minister, he talked about how there's a need to build capacities within schools, teachers, and classrooms so that teaching and learning can improve. Notice that this is not a structural change. This is a ground-up innovation that allows schools and teachers to innovate based on the needs of their students. This is the quote from our minister, and we want to move away from learning content to developing a habit of inquiry. We want to have innovations from the ground rather than a structure of the ministry setting direction for each teacher to follow. And how do we do so? The objective of Teach Less Learn More is to develop the student holistically, physically, aesthetically, academically, spiritually, emotionally. We want our students to be engaged, and that can come about through engaging pedagogies from teachers. We want the learning to be not just assessed based on examination results. We want ongoing, authentic assessment for learning. We want to develop our teachers. And finally, we want to enhance our curriculum. As a result, our content was reduced. Instead of adding more curriculum load, we reduced curriculum. We provided time for teachers in schools for professional development and time in their timetables to discuss teaching methods. And we involve the parents and community because we know that education cannot be done by just teachers and schools themselves. Very briefly, the impact of TLM. This is still a work in progress. But when we move learning away from emphasizing only on its examinations and on meaning, students are more engaged, they find they're less stressed, and perhaps a little more anxious. When teachers engage students through different pedagogies, the learning experience gets enhanced, of course. I think this morning, the speakers were talking very much about making learning authentic and engaging. I hope we are able to do that. And finally, this morning, one of the speakers talked about teaching as a flow profession. When teachers are allowed to innovate and experiment with their pedagogies in the classrooms, they find greater satisfaction. We move very quickly to TLLM, Teach Less Learn More, Learn for Life movement, which we're currently at, and the 21st century competencies. All three are located within our more recent phases of education development. I would like to first emphasize that this is not a discrete phase, but each phase overlaps one another. This is Singapore's 21st century competencies model. If you look at the center, it is the core values, because we believe that students must be anchored in values to make them good and useful people and citizens. In the pink circle, you see social emotional learning skills, self-awareness, self-management, students must be able to manage themselves. In the orange circle, you see the 21st century competencies as defined by Singapore's Ministry of Education. So you have critical and adaptive and inventive thinking, civic, global, and cross-cultural literacy, and communication, collaboration, and information skills. Finally, right outside the circles are our 4 desired outcomes of education. We want every student to be confident persons, self-directed learners, concerned citizens, and active contributors. Doing well in examinations is not stated as a desired outcome of education. I think this is quite deliberate. How is this all linked? TLLM, by encouraging students to learn out of passion rather than fear of failure, is really much aligned with the Learn for Life movement. We want our citizens to learn not just to pass exams. We want them to learn because they love learning, because they find meaning in learning. And TLLM back in 2005 laid the groundwork for the current emphasis on lifelong learning and developing competencies beyond just exam results. TLLM emphasizes teaching the whole child across different domains rather than just focusing on subjects. If we look at the TLLM philosophy and the 21st century competencies framework, we want our child to have values, to be socially, emotionally competent, and with the appropriate 21st century skills. This cannot be measured in your conventional examinations. And this encourages teachers to teach beyond dispensing information. We want students to understand and potential concepts. Therefore, the name Teach Less, Learn More. And finally, we know that the world is changing faster than we expect. At the same time, the ongoing professional development is important. So if we have